Last night in your dreams, you might have been running from something, or feeling deeply connected and in love with someone you don't even know of. Maybe you were somewhere that felt familiar, but completely wrong. You woke up, shook it off, and started your day. Your unconscious has been trying to get your attention for years. You keep hitting snooze. My name is David. Welcome to our channel. Let's begin our journey. Dreams are not random noise. This is one of the few things modern neuroscience and Carl Jung agree on completely, though they would describe what's happening in very different language. Neuroscience sees the dreaming brain as a system running simulations, processing emotion, consolidating memory, maintaining the architecture of the mind. Jung saw something more unsettling, a second intelligence operating beneath consciousness, with its own logic, its own agenda, and a patience that will outlast you. What neither of them disputes is this: your dreams are doing something, and most people spend their entire lives not asking what. Dreams have levels. They are not all the same depth, carrying the same weight or the same message. Some are housekeeping. Some are your psyche staging the same confrontation you have refused to have while awake. And some, the ones that stay with you, the ones that repeat, the ones that leave you unsettled in ways you cannot explain by lunchtime, are something older and stranger than anything in your personal history. Understanding which level you are operating at changes what the dream is trying to tell you. So let's go down. Level 1, the threshold. Most people never remember this level. It exists in the few minutes between waking and sleep, a transitional state where the border between consciousness and the unconscious is thin enough that you can almost see through it. What you experience here, if you experience anything at all, is not a dream in any conventional sense. It is geometry, patterns that pulse and shift behind closed eyes, spirals, lattices, a tunnel that seems to extend inward, colors with no source, forms with no meaning. Jung would not have been surprised by any of this. He understood the unconscious as a vast territory, and like any territory, it has a border. Level 1 is simply that border, the door. What lies behind it has not yet assembled itself into language or image or story. It is simply present. This level carries no message. It is not trying to show you anything. It is the sound the mind makes when consciousness steps aside, the static before the signal. Most of us pass through it without noticing, which is fine. The meaning is not here. It begins at level 2. Level 2, the feeling without words. You have had this dream. You are somewhere, a house, a corridor, an outdoor space that feels both familiar and wrong. Nothing happens. No one appears. There is no plot, no event, no threat. And yet you wake from it carrying an emotion so heavy that it takes 20 minutes to shake. Grief sometimes, dread, a longing you cannot name. The feeling is enormous. The dream itself was almost nothing. This is level 2, and it is more significant than it appears. What is happening here is not random. Your mind, moving deeper into the unconscious, reaches first for what it knows best: emotion. Not language, not narrative, not logic. Pure feeling, pulled from the deepest parts of your memory. The things tagged with the most emotional weight. And because consciousness is no longer managing the room, these feelings arrive unfiltered, unmediated, attached to almost nothing. The empty house in the dream is not about a house. The corridor that seems to go nowhere is not about architecture. These are containers, shapes the unconscious uses to hold feelings that have no other form. Jung called this the psyche setting the emotional stage. The landscape is the emotion. The emptiness is the point. Pay attention to how you feel when you wake from these dreams. Not what happened. Nothing happened. how you felt. That feeling is information. It is the unconscious surfacing something you have been carrying without acknowledging it. The dream gave it a shape just long enough for you to feel it. Most people dismiss this level entirely. They wake, feel the residue of something unnamed, and attribute it to a bad night's sleep. Jung would call that a missed appointment. At level 3, the unconscious stops setting the stage. It starts writing the play. Level 3, the loop. You are running through an airport. Your gate keeps moving. You ask someone for help, and they walk past you as though you are not there. You are running harder now, but the gate is further away than it was a moment ago, and somewhere beneath the dream logic you already know. You are going to miss this flight. You have this dream, or one exactly like it. The exam you did not study for, sitting down at the desk and realizing you have not attended this class once all semester. The thing you were supposed to do that you cannot now undo. The call you needed to make. The door that will not open. The place you are trying to reach that recedes precisely as fast as you move toward it. The setting changes. The feeling never does. This is level 3, and this is where the unconscious stops being atmospheric and becomes insistent. The raw emotion from level 2 has now been given a structure, a plot, not a logical plot, not the kind that would hold up in a film script, an emotional plot. Cause and effect arranged not to make sense, but to make you feel something, with enough force that it cannot be ignored. Jung understood these dreams with particular precision. He would say, the repetition is not accidental and not random. It is intentional. The psyche is staging the same confrontation you have been refusing to have while awake. And it will keep staging it, in airports and exam halls and hotel lobbies and wherever else it needs to take you, until you stop refusing. These dreams are not punishing you. They are persistent. There is a difference. The anxiety is not the message. The anxiety is the messenger. What it is pointing at, the unfinished thing, the avoided conversation, the decision you have been circling for months, that is the message. The dream cannot hand it to you directly. It can only keep building the set and running the same scene until you ask the right question. Here is the uncomfortable truth about level 3 dreams. If you have been having them for years, you already know what they are about. You have known for a while. The dream is not trying to show you something hidden. It is trying to make you act on something you have already seen. Most people never ask the question. They simply report the dream to whoever will listen and wait for it to come back. It always comes back. But there is a level where something stranger happens. A level where the dream stops feeling like it is coming from you and starts feeling like it is coming for you. Level 4. The stranger. There is a figure in your dreams you did not invent. You may not have noticed. It may have appeared in different forms across different dreams, across different years. A person whose face shifts, but whose presence feels consistent. A quality that returns wearing different faces. Or it may be unmistakable. Someone you have never met appearing again and again, across a decade of dreaming, as vivid and specific as anyone in your waking life. Or perhaps it is not a person. Perhaps it is the chase itself. The thing behind you that you cannot see clearly. The weight on your legs that prevents you from running, no matter how urgently your mind commands your body to move. The outcome you cannot avoid no matter how hard you try to avoid it. Level 4 is where the dream stops being authored by your personal history and starts drawing from something older. Jung called this the collective unconscious, the layer of the psyche beneath personal memory and experience, where what is stored is not your life, but the inherited patterns of human life itself. The fears that do not come from anything that happened to you. The figures that do not come from anyone you have met. They come from a deeper stratum, and they have been present in human dreams for as long as humans have been dreaming. The being chased dream is not yours. It belongs to every person alive and every person who has ever lived. It is an inherited script running on inherited neural architecture, the universal experience of a confrontation with consequences you cannot escape. Your version of it is colored by your life. The terror at its center is not. The recurring figure is more specific. Jung would say, this is the part of yourself you have refused to acknowledge. The quality, the capacity, the truth about your own nature that your conscious identity finds inconvenient or threatening. It returns because it is part of you. It will keep returning until you recognize it as such. It is not haunting you. It is waiting for you. Jung would have found level 4 endlessly interesting. He would have pulled up a chair. He spent the better part of his career here. But there is one level deeper. A level most people never reach. And the ones who do are not always sure they wanted to. Level 5, the mirror. You are in a dream, and you know you are dreaming. For a moment, this feels like freedom. You are aware. You have perspective. You can see the machinery of the dream around you, the constructed landscape, the assembled figures, and you know that you are the one dreaming it. Then one of the figures turns and looks directly at you, and it is angry. In accounts from people who have reached this level, the experience is consistent enough to be disturbing. The dreamer becomes lucid, aware that they are dreaming, and attempts to assert this awareness, sometimes to the figures in the dream, sometimes simply to themselves. In the benign versions, nothing happens. In the other versions, the figures react, some with hostility, some with what can only be described as alarm, as though the dreamer was not supposed to arrive here with their eyes open. You were not supposed to know. Jung would not have found this surprising at all. He would have found it entirely logical. When the ego, the conscious, managing, self-presenting part of you, becomes aware of the unconscious becomes aware of the ego. The figures in the dream are not external. They are parts of the self that consciousness has suppressed, denied, refused to integrate. They have been operating in the dark for a long time. They have developed, in Jung's framework, their own form of existence, and they do not always welcome the lights coming on. The hostility is not madness. It is resistance. And resistance, Jung understood, is always proportional to importance. The things that fight hardest to stay hidden are the things most worth looking at. There is a second experience reported at this level that is stranger still. The dreamer becomes lucid. They wake, or believe they wake. They begin their morning, get dressed, move through the ordinary choreography of a day beginning. And then something is slightly wrong. The mirror shows a face that is not quite theirs. The color of the wall is off. A detail that should be familiar is distorted in a way that cannot be explained. They wake again, begin again, check the mirror. This time it is fine, until it is not. This cycle can repeat. The dream keeps reconstructing reality closely enough to be convincing, then revealing itself at precisely the moment the dreamer relaxes. Jung would have had a great deal to say about this. He would have said that this is not a sleep phenomenon. He would have said that this is the most honest metaphor the unconscious has ever produced for the experience of being human. Most of us wake up every morning into the same version of ourselves. We move through the same patterns, make the same choices, replay the same emotional logic we replayed yesterday. We are certain we are conscious. We are certain we are seeing clearly. And we never check the mirror. Or we check it, and we see what we expect to see, and we accept that as reality. The level 5 dream is not tormenting the dreamer. It is showing them something with unusual precision. The question it is asking is not comfortable. How do you know you are actually awake? You were chased. You missed the flight. You stood somewhere familiar that felt wrong. You met someone in a dream you could not have invented and have not been able to forget. You woke up inside a dream and thought you were free. Your unconscious was not doing any of this to you. It was doing it for you. The question is not what your dream meant. Dreams are not coded messages waiting to be deciphered. They are not fortune-telling. They are not the soul speaking in metaphor, though they have been described that way by people trying to make the experience sound more manageable than it is. They are the part of you that cannot lie, trying to have a conversation with the part of you that does nothing else. Most people never respond. They wake up, shake it off, and wait to be chased again. If something in this landed, write it. One word, whatever it named. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've gained something from our time together. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. This helps us to continue to keep making great content for you. Take care as always.